you're done, I'll pass it over to Patrick. He'll give his, and then we'll do about 15 minutes of you two going back and forth. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, without further ado, you have the floor.
Okay, so first of all, two disclaimers. This Rookie of the Year race is very, very close between Scott. Stars competition was an embarrassment on the national stage for Barnes, missing those 4 shots from underneath the bucket. But like any other event in an all-star skills competition in any sport, it means absolutely nothing. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan, and I wouldn't believe for a second that Micah Parsons is actually faster than Tyreek Hill, even though Parsons won that race in the Pro Bowl. So here is why Scottie Barnes should win Rookie of the Year. He's the better passer, has better court vision. He leads rookie big men with 3.3 assists per game versus Mobley's 2.6. He leads rookies in offensive rebounds with 119 and is third in total rebounds. Barnes has less turnovers than Mobley, even though he is a better or more of a volume passer. Barnes is better in transition, turning rebounds into fast break opportunities, which is why the Raptors are second in the NBA at 17.1% of points off turnovers. A lot of that to do with Scottie Barnes. Barnes is the better three-point shooter, even though big men don't take that many three-point shots, but Barnes is at 31.3%, while Mobley's at 26.5%, and Barnes is a better three-point shooter. And he just overall, Barnes's production has shown more in terms of giving his teammates better opportunities. He contributed to Fred VanVleet's first All-Star season and Pascal Siakam becoming an All-Star yet again. And Barnes also had to deal with the pressure of stepping in for Kyle Lowry. Yeah, Mobley is in the shadow of LeBron James, but LBJ went to LA in 2018. So overall, that is why Scottie Barnes should be considered for Rookie of the Year.
Perfect. All right, Pat, on to you, my friend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of Colorcast. That was a very cogent argument made by MikeLanger, who should be on mute right now. But it is something that we have to take into account, that it is just beyond the month of November and October that determines who is Rookie of the Year throughout the whole season. My esteemed debater, MikeLanger, here pull up data from November or even early December. Scottie Barnes, head and shoulders, would be above the whole field, but it is not the early bit of the NBA anymore. It is near past the halfway point of the NBA season, and one man from the University of Southern California Trojans has been dominant like no other rookie has been in this 2021 NBA draft class. And that man is Evan Mobley. He has been able to impact the game, dominantly on both ends of the court. And the stats back it up. This guy's so special. He's once in a generational special. Scottie Barnes is a good player. Cool that he mentioned, like the shadow Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is a Raptor for life. But I'm not talking about the shadow of LeBron James. I'm not talking about the shadow of Kyrie Irving. I'm not talking about the shadow of Craig Iguodala, because that was the past for Cleveland. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a present, and the present is Evan Mobley. And if he continues his play right now, where he's averaging 14.9 points per game, and where he's averaging 8.1 rebounds, which is 28th in the league, and that's the most of any rookie. No, this is a player of the future, and that is why he's a Rookie of the Year this season. I firmly believe that Evan Mobley is this year's Rookie of the Year.
All right. Well, we're going to open it up to both of you. We can go back and forth for about 15 minutes, and then each of you will get a closing argument.
All right. So first of all, Patrick, while we might consider or put more consideration into what Mobley has done in the last couple of months versus the beginning of the season, that is the definition of recency bias. The Rookie of the Year award has to be considered what each player has done over the entirety of the regular season. And I understand that the playoffs are not considered in terms of deciding the Rookie of the Year award.
Really
it's what they have done
playoffs? Because I can get
in the season. Well, again, if it's not considered for Rookie of the Year, then that's a moot point. But either way, like you mentioned, Scottie Barnes was head and shoulders above Mobley early in the year. So if you consider Mobley,
I said he was really good in the beginning of the season, but not sugarcoating it at all. Mobley has been the best rookie all year. Okay, so let's look at head-to-head. Well, you go on first before I drop some bombs here, because I got some really good shit lined up here. I did a lot.
I got the head-to-head stats in front of me too, my man. So
yeah, okay, then let's go.
Yeah,
okay,
let's look at him. Let's look at him.
Player efficiency rating. Right now, Evan Mobley, 15.93, 90th in the NBA. Right now, Scottie Barnes, 15.16, 103rd. So that's just it's a player efficiency rating. It's a great measurement, although not perfect, about an overall impact of NBA player. And right now, Evan Mobley is surpassing Scottie Barnes in that. And this isn't recency bias. Evan Mobley has been putting into work all year long for this Twin Towers type attack that the Cleveland Cavaliers have. Scottie Barnes.
But that's also, sorry, if I may say on that point, though, that's a 10-spot difference when we're talking over 100 players. Like, this is a top 100
so
and
much more.
From the 90s to the hundreds, it's not that big of a difference in terms of efficiency rating, which could change from now until the end of the season.
No, it's cool. We go to points. Well, it's not the point is over. You'll see later. I'll put a bow around this at the end. There's a narrative to this ramble. Evan Mobley, points 14.9, 72nd in the NBA. Scottie Barnes, points 14.4, 78th in the NBA. So in that category, Evan Mobley is surpassing Scottie Barnes as well. And that's such an essential part when you need to put, like I'm going to talk about this in layman's terms, you need to put the basket in the hoop. You need to put the basketball in the hoop. Anyways, so what's going on? You want to get me on rebounding here? Do you want to try that?
So Mobley is the better defensive rebounder, but Scottie Barnes is a much better offensive rebounder.
Scottie Barnes is a defender where, I'm not sure about – I'm not Scottie Barnes. Evan Mobley is a defender where I'm not sure if Scottie Barnes actually is yet. Scottie Barnes doesn't have that two-way potential that Evan Mobley has. Evan Mobley is like a Chris Bosh that can play better defense, or like some sort of Anthony Davis type unicorn big man. Evan Mobley's it's a gift from God to get Evan Mobley in the draft. Every part of my heart and soul wants to be on a trumpet and say it's Cade Cunningham. But I know I'm checking all my biases because I know damn well that the rookie of the year this year is Evan Mobley, the star young center for the Cleveland Cavaliers, which, by the way, are fourth in the Eastern Conference, where your hometown Toronto Raptors are seventh in the Eastern Conference, below the sixth seed at current play-in tournament. So your team, if you want to talk about impacting right away for a fucking sorry.
Well, is that an impact? Is that because of Evan Mobley or because of the other members of the Cleveland Cavaliers like Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Colin Sexton?
There are a lot of it. So Colin Sexton's been hurt has been hurt a lot. That's why Darius Garland had his ascension. So a lot of it absolutely is because of Evan Mobley, because of this coupling of play. And you make some good points, but this coupling of play that he does with Jared Allen. So Jared Allen and him are simpatico, and they form the best front court in the East minus Philadelphia, I think, in my opinion. And I can't say anything about the Toronto Raptors that Scottie Barnes brings to the table that makes them the best in the East at any above average in the East. Yes, but we're talking about direct impact from a rookie right into their team right away. It's definitely more so shown by Evan Mobley and the Cleveland Cavaliers than it is by Scottie Barnes.
But we might look at Evan Mobley as that quote unquote unicorn type of player at 7 feet tall who can be a two-way player both on defense and on offense. But if you really look at the numbers, like you mentioned, Mobley is better in some areas, but Scottie Barnes is better in other areas. So it's not that big of a difference. And I would say that the Cavs they have a stronger roster than the Raptors coming into this season, but Scottie Barnes has given opportunities to Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Gary Trent Jr., who's averaging over 20 points per game in the last month. He's allowed those players to ascend to above what their expected performance would be.
Well, as per you want to talk about, though, the difference between, a small forward that passes. See, we're going to go back to rebounding for a second. I just want to go back to that before I circle around and address this point. Okay, Evan Mobley rebounding 8.1, where Scottie Barnes is 7.4. He's 28th in the East when it comes to rebounding, Evan Mobley. Now assists. The only major statistical categories that Scottie Barnes is better than Evan Mobley at. Scottie Barnes has 3.3 assists. Evan Mobley as a center has 2.6 assists, which is not that far off from the 3.3 of Scottie Barnes. But
Scottie Barnes leads all rookies in assists. He is the best passing rookie big man. Among big men rookies.
He's the best amongst rookies. He's not. I mean, if we're looking at rookies right now, Cade Cunningham's the best in points. But if you look at the overall package of a rookie, Evan Mobley is the best bang for the buck. And, I think my beloved Detroit Pistons, if they were to redraft this draft all over again, they should have drafted Evan Mobley instead of Cade Cunningham. And it pains me in my soul, in my fucking soul to say that. But I believe it's true. And that's how freaking good Evan Mobley is.
And again, that's true from the points per game standpoint, but not from the making, in terms of positional value. If you could have, what's more important, a point guard or a big man to a team? What's more important?
Depends I think it depends on the level of talent. For example, a transcendent talent point guard like Steph Curry would be better than Raymond Felton, who I think were both drafted in the same draft class. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize, audience. Misinformation isn't cool. Like the misinformation that Scottie Barnes is better than Evan Mobley. But going back on to it.
That's not misinformation for the stats I mentioned.
You only mentioned one stat that he's better in assists.
Offensive rebounds and assists and free throws and 3 points. So he's the more versatile player.
He's not a more versatile player because if you look at defense, the less glamorous end of the floor, Evan Mobley can guard point guard center. He can do the switches effortlessly. Players don't learn those switches until they're far, far older. Anthony Davis wasn't able to pick that up at that quick of an age.
So Mobley has more blocks and Barnes has more steals. So you can say that overall, perhaps, Mobley is the better defender, but that's no slouch on Scottie Barnes, who holds his own on the defensive end of the court and turns all those rebounds into fast break opportunities for the Raptors.
Now, that's something that's part of Nick Nurse's coaching scheme, and that's less because of Scottie Barnes, if you want to talk about this.
So Tom Brady is the GOAT because of Bill Belichick and his coaching scheme. We can make that, but he's still the GOAT.
I'm not. That's a different line up debate for a different day. We're talking about
absolutely. I'll go off on that.
Yeah, that's your wheelhouse. This is mine. Let's go back to this is Scottie Barnes. Okay, here's another thing about Mobley, ladies and gentlemen of Colorcast, our fine, beautiful, wonderful audience. Mobley leads all 2021. This is per Bleacher Report draftees with 4.2 win shares and tops the rotation regulars in the draft with a 0.9 plus minus and value over 0.09 plus replacement player. So he's better than the replacement player per sub, and his plus minus is the best out of any NBA rookie. And he has the most win shares out of any NBA rookie. If you're looking at advanced statistical measurements, these are some really nitty-gritty facts to look into what player is better than another player. And even in the more advanced stats, Evan Mobley in win shares and in plus minus surpasses the likes of Scottie Barnes, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and the rest of the field.
Advanced stats don't always tell the whole picture, though. They tell a lot, but they don't always tell the whole picture. I wouldn't say I'm a full-on denier of advanced stats, but I do believe that they don't always tell the whole story. And going back to my point about what position is more valuable, point guard or big man, what if you could have a point guard as a big man? What about if you could have a point guard as a big man? A guy who can start the offense as a big man, rebounding, fast break, starting the play down at the other end of the court, getting offensive rebounds, keeping possession. That is, you get the best of both worlds as both a power forward and a point guard in Scottie Barnes.
A power forward and a point guard, whoop-de-gosh darn do. Again, going to the less glamorous end of the
Versatility.
floor.
Versatility, Pat.
Versatility on defense. Evan Mobley can guard 1 through 5. That's so hard. That is so unbelievably hard. Nick Nurse was pretty fast breaks. You get him in transition. Yeah, he's slightly below. He's slightly below Scottie Barnes when it comes to steals, but I bet Mobley could freaking do it. And also, let's go back to something more recency bias if you want to go back there.
Scottie Barnes your last point, Pat, for closing arguments.
He couldn't hit a freaking layup. All right.
Well, Pat, you're going to go with your closing argument first since Mike went first at the opener. And then it's be about a minute, and then, Mike, you can give yours.
Ladies and gentlemen of Colorcast, thank you so much for having me here tonight. In sum, I also want to leave you at a bigger picture about why Evan Mobley is better. He's not just dwarfing Scottie Barnes in statistical categories, but I want to hit back on that the Cleveland Cavaliers are 35-23, and you got to keep in mind he's leading the win shares ratio, so he's had an active contribution to that, 4th in the Eastern Conference. The Toronto Raptors are 32-25. 0.56, 7th in the Eastern Conference, below the 6th seed, and are currently in the play-in. And he doesn't even have the win shares. So you see a disparity in team success, and we already know that Evan Mobley has the most contributions in terms of positive team success with his plus-minus advantage, his player efficiency advantage, and his advantage in win shares. And also, I also want to, this is a little bit mean, but I have to mention that Scottie Barnes missed 6 layups in the clutch challenge during NBA All-Star Weekend. And Evan Mobley won the skills challenge. Thank you. God bless you. Shout out to Light of them up and everyone else.
Mike, you have the floor for your closing argument, and then we can take votes.
Who the hell cares about missed layups in a friggin' skills competition? That means absolutely nothing. But in terms of the season, Scottie Barnes is the better passer. He, again, offers both abilities as a point guard from the big man position, starting the transition, leading the fast break, which is what the Raptors have been thriving on this season, again, second in NBA in terms of points off of turnovers. And while he had a stronger start to the season than Evan Mobley, you have to consider the overall picture. And overall, Scottie Barnes is the better passer, the better offensive rebounder, the better three-point shooter, and the better free throw shooter. And that is why he should be the Rookie of the Year.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was a fantastic debate. Let's get some votes in the chat. I think I'm Pat by a hair. Sorry, Langer. Langer, 1-1. 3-2, 4-2, 4-3. This one is close. We got another second or two. All right, we're going to go with MikeLanger, 4-3 with the victory in his inaugural episode, your first episode. Good job, my friend. Patrick, valiant effort once again.
We got one more vote from me that came in.
Did we?
Is it a buzzer beater?
Yeah.
Do we count that?
So 4-4.
It is, and does that mean I have the tiebreaker?
Yes.
I am still going to give it to Mike. Pat, it was super close.
Good game there, Pat.
Our next debaters here is going to be ArmchairHost and Blake. They're debating which Super Bowl was the best. I've got some bias in this one, but I'm not going to do that to the team, to anyone else debating, so I'm going to stay out of this one. But I think if anyone knows me, you're going to know what side I am on here. Armchair, how are we, my friend?
Oh, thought we'd have a nice friendly debate with Patriots on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Super Bowl talk, so what do you expect?
I love this little Patriots love fest we got going on.
A little Patriots powwow, Blake. Don't you worry about it. All right, we are going to have Blake, you're going to go second for opening arguments since, of course, you are on the Light 'em Up crew. Armchair, you're going to go first. You know the drill by now. 1 minute, 2 minute opening argument. Then Blake, you'll give yours, 15 minutes back and forth, and we'll do closings.
Perfect.
All right, you have the floor.
The 28-3 New England Patriots Super Bowl, which is all it's really known by anymore, is the greatest single Super Bowl ever. And I say that having witnessed many Super Bowls over many years. There are plenty of dramatic events, including others that included my favorite team, the New England Patriots. Malcolm Butler intercepting on the goal line when you have, one of the best running backs on earth. But here we have a game where the entire planet was rooting for one side to win. And then you had everything in your favor, 21-3 at the half. You extend it to 28-3. And then you cue the, just hold my beer talk. Here comes Tom Brady. Here comes Julian Edelman. And more importantly, here comes the Falcons choking away another Atlanta victory. Here comes Dan Quinn is exactly who we thought he was. Here comes Matty Ice not being able to get it done. Here comes Julio Jones with unbelievable feats, and they still couldn't do it. This Super Bowl had everything for every side, and I will argue very fervently that this is the best Super Bowl, despite what Mr. Balaki will tell you.
All right, Blake, you have the floor.
Sick. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. All due respect to ArmchairHost, and I do mean all due respect. But when we pitched out this idea of talking about who's got the best Super Bowl, the first thing that came to mind was this 28-3 comeback. The second thing that came to mind was that can't be the best Super Bowl of all time. It's not even the best Super Bowl of the 21st century. 20th century? Whatever we're in. Who knows? Who cares? The Patriots have been doing this time and time again. They were 12-point favorites different stat. They were 3-point favorites coming into this Falcons Super Bowl, and they won it. Everyone saw what they expected to see. But let's go to this 2007 New York Giants team. This season, they had 3 new coordinators and a new GM. They still had Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin's going to be around for a long time. But 3 new coordinators and a new GM. Michael Strahan was injured for the first 4 games of the season. Other than that, they didn't have anybody on that team. They had 1 Pro Bowler. His name is very hard to pronounce, and I had it written down. He was a defensive end. Michael Strahan wasn't even a Pro Bowler. It was Michael Strahan's last year. Point is, this was a ragtag Giants team. This Giants team is the definition of road warriors, underdogs. No one expected them to get as far as they did, and they sucked at home. They won 3 games all season at home, but they were 10-6. They didn't have a single home playoff game. They went into Tampa and hit Jeff Garcia 11 times, and Michael Strahan had 3 hits. 3 of those hits, only sacked once, doesn't matter, whatever. Then they went into Dallas, who had already beaten them twice that year, and did it again. They won. They kept winning. Then they went into the frozen tundra and established a narrative that we would see for many, many years. The Packers cannot win an NFC championship. The Giants won there again. Then they had to play the Patriots, the best football team of all time, led by Mike Vrabel, coach of the year, linebacker for the Pats at the time, and, of course, Tom Brady, and 7 other all-pro players. This was the best football team of all time. No one gave the Giants a chance, and they pulled it off. So I guess that's really all I got to say there. It's kind of a lopsided argument. The 28-3 comeback is remembered more as a meme, remembered more as the Falcons choking than it is the Patriots winning.
We're going to open this up now, Blake.
Blake, I appreciate your comments there, and it's really interesting that this is the Super Bowl you chose, because I actually did an episode on the 18-1 Patriots season, including their loss in the Super Bowl, for my podcast available where all podcasts are available. And I'm going to be honest with you. So that victory is definitely significant, but you're talking about a game where Eli should have been sacked and the whistle wasn't blown dead. Act of God to hold the football onto David Tyree, who had 4 or 5 catches all year long. I mean, it was impressive. He wasn't not good. He wasn't relevant.
That catch was ranked number 3 on NFL.com's top 100 plays of all time. If that's the catch you're referring to, of course, the helmet catch, one of the greatest plays ever. Okay.
One of the greatest, one of the flukiest. I see people in chat talking about how this is an Atlanta choke, but it's not an Atlanta choke if you actually look at how that second half happens. The Patriots start by giving up more points. It's 28-3 by the time they start scoring points. The Patriots have to come all the way back and beyond everything else. We're talking about Julio making sideline catches. We're talking about awful ref ball, which is in every game. Let's not pretend that the refs didn't impact this too. We're talking about poor coaching decisions by Dan Quinn. The Patriots losing that perfect season was an act of God. It's not an incredible. David Tyree doesn't have the talent to do that on his own. He would never do it again against the best coverage linebacker in the league that year. He makes that catch.
Yes. Okay. Here's my thing, though, about what you're saying. Yeah, it was a miracle. Do you not want that in the Super Bowl? The Patriots have been here time and time again. Like we know about touchdown Tom, 7 rings, 6 of them with New England. Why would you not want to see the underdog defeating? This is literally like a movie. I'm surprised there hasn't been a shitty Kevin James movie about this Super Bowl alone. This Giants run is just truly immaculate. It's magic. Every single head-to-head matchup, the Patriots were better. No one had the Giants winning. The only thing they had going for them was a 10-game road winning streak. But it's a Super Bowl. That doesn't even matter. So I guess that's my point there. But my follow-up for you is this. Do you think the 28-3 comeback is a better Super Bowl win for the Patriots, better than the Malcolm Butler interception at the goal line?
Yes, by a hair. And I'll tell you why. The Falcons team that they're going against was the number 1 scoring offensive team in the league. They put up points at a ridiculous pace. MVP, Matty Ice. We're not talking about some typical Atlanta team. We're not talking about the same Falcons who were complete jabronis last year or the year before or, insert year here. This is a team that was legitimately built for it. That defense was ready to go. People were ready for a change. And I understand that it's going to be really difficult for people to vote for a Patriot victory here. I understand that because you hate us. You really hate us. But you have to appreciate how difficult it is to come back 25 unanswered points. 25. When was the last time we saw that? When did we see it?
When? 1999, the Bills had the biggest NFL game playoff comeback. Well, NFL game period comeback. They were down 35-3 at halftime against the Houston Oilers, and the Bills came back and won it. So that was
in the Super Bowl.
Like, yes, this comeback in the Super Bowl, yes, it's special, but that's not better than this. It's all about the underdog teams. It's about the odds for me. Like the Patriots were expected to win. They were favored to win. They did it. They had 7 All-Pros. Falcons had 4. Like, look at the roster, everything about it. The Patriots have been favorites. So, it can't be the greatest Super Bowl of all time when it's not even the greatest Patriots Super Bowl of all time.
Oh, I disagree. I think that we're getting bogged down in being underdog. Underdog story doesn't necessarily equal the greatest Super Bowl victory. It just doesn't.
It does have. Look, they're down 4 points. They had a 2-minute drill. This is what every kid dreams about, getting to the Super Bowl. Everything was on Eli Manning, and they had the greatest catch of all time, the helmet catch. You can call it what you want. Patriots fans don't like it, and I get that. Titans were 1 yard short of winning a Super Bowl, and that eats at me every single season. I feel that. But it's still one of the greatest catches of all time. You have to acknowledge that. The Patriots were 12-point favorites coming into that game, and then the Giants won. I feel like this is it's a little lopsided in my opinion. But what do you think?
I understand your point. And look, the Patriots losing that, I did a very deep dive on the 2007 Super Bowl when I was doing the episode. So I'm unfortunately super versed in it. There are a ton of incredible plays that happened there, and almost all of it's forgotten because of David Tyree. You're not even talking about Plexico Burress making the touchdown catch with 35 seconds left. By the way,
what about the 12-yard conversion by rookie Steve Smith on a 3rd and 11 to get him there? Next play was that touchdown catch. I studied this too. This team was special, but not at that time. Michael Strahan was old. Steve Smith was a rookie, not as good. Plexico Burress is a good receiver, but he's not elite.
I just think you had more going for you. You're talking about all pros, and if we're really going through the all pros, yes, the Patriots were 14-2 when they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Falcons were only the number 2, but they demolished on their way to this Super Bowl. Do we really have to well, not really. No, the Patriots didn't. 34-16 against Houston. Yeah, sure. They beat the Steelers. Sorry, Flem. pretty handily.
36-17. Yeah, and they went to the Super Bowl and won. That's
36-20 against the Seahawks. Come on, like they
talking about a
absolutely.
different year now. I'm looking at y'all's Super Bowl run. Y'all blew out the Steelers 36-17. In the divisional round, you beat the Texans 34-16. The Patriots were favored in every single matchup because it's the Patriots.
The Falcons won 44-21 against the Packers. I just like it, they were equally offensive juggernauts. Yes, the Falcons were. The Falcons were an offensive juggernaut this year. And at the end of the day, when you're talking about it, you had David versus Goliath is an amusing story, and it's fun. And we thought we were going to see it this year. We thought we've seen it a dozen times before. But every time that we actually get it, all we end up with is another David. This was Goliath versus Goliath. You had the old school Tom Brady. Let's get him out of there. Let's beat him. Yeah, they were the favorites, but they were getting their ass handed to them. They were destroyed. People were doing victory laps. And there is something to be said about it. Everybody's talking about it being a meme. You have to think about this from a pure sporting perspective. You had the victory in hand, and the other team said, no, not yet. They came back and they pushed. They pushed all the way to the very end, and that's what makes it significant. They had to go to overtime. And in overtime, the Falcons still could have won, and they didn't. They didn't because Tom and Sweet Feet White and Edelman with that ridiculous catch, like inches off the ground, which may be one of the greatest catches of all time that I've ever personally witnessed on television.
You know what's cooler than that run? The 2007 New York Giants beating Green Bay in Lambeau in the NFC Championship in overtime. And we can even talk about the Patriots there too, because the Patriots in their 17-0 season, week 17 went into New York and played the Giants and overcame a 12-point deficit. Hey, look, it's another Tom Brady Patriots comeback. It's almost like we've seen this before, only 10 years earlier. The Giants had to overcome that again. They beat everyone who beat them in the regular season in the postseason. They were underdogs every single time. Patriots, we've been here, done that, seen it again and again. The Seahawks game was better. I would even argue, I can pull up the Super Bowl winners list right now. And I would say that the Super Bowl that you're claiming is the best of all time isn't even top 10 in the 21st century.
Wow.
Like, there's so many more Super Bowls I would rather watch than go back and watch the 28-3 comeback. While impressive, I don't want to watch another Patriots Super Bowl. I want to watch the 2007
so you've just confirmed everything.
There's a 2-minute drill. There's a 2-minute drill.
Blake, you just confirmed everything. Blake, your issue isn't that the Patriots came back. It's that you don't want to watch another Patriots Super Bowl. At the end of the day, if you take your bias out of it, you take your bias out of it. You're putting the Patriots as an evil empire that we know they are. Belichick and Brady have been around for a long time. Yes. If this was the Bengals coming back against literally anybody, if this was Cleveland coming back against the Steelers, if this was Baltimore coming back against the Steelers because they're rivals, if this was any game where it was someone coming back this much, it would be revered as an incredible comeback. Instead, because it's the Patriots, it's an absolute choke fest. Shanahan did wrong. Dan Quinn was miserable. He got his job. And I get it. You don't want to see the Patriots win another one.
Let me get out the world's tiniest belt. Why don't you go cry into your Super Bowl rings? I don't care.
I'm not crying.
No one cares. Look, the Patriots get so much media coverage. We're trying to ignore, like, the Giants weren't down in that game. Like, the greatest catch of all time wasn't in a 2-minute drill. Like, that drive, this game is already revered as one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. You see that Michael Strahan holding up the Super Bowl trophy in his last season ever, one of the greatest defensive players to do it. Haven't even gotten to him that much. This is the I'm going to Disney World dreaming moment. I was only 7 years old, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch that game. I didn't get to watch that live. But looking back into it now, having my passion for football, I can tell you that is what dreams are made of. No one, and I mean nobody, gave the Giants a chance.
I'll leave it there, Stoned. I don't know if I'm going to convince a Patriot hater. It's all right.
I'm a Titans fan.
All right, I was just about to get it in, too.
And then you shit talk Julio, who's going to the Hall of Fame as a Titan, and it just took me over the edge.
I didn't shit talk Julio at all. He did incredible things. Where the fuck do you get shit talking Julio? Pardon the language.
I thought you said a negative comment about Julio, and I just heard red. You're talking about the Falcons not being that great, but then you also said they were really good.
So they were an offensive juggernaut. Blake wasn't listening. Okay. You heard it here first.
I don't need to listen. All right, let's go.
All right, we're going to do closing arguments. Blake, you're going to go first, and then Armchair going to go second because you went first for openings.
I don't appreciate the personal attacks. I do listen. I might have misheard. But during a debate, I'm riled up. And I'm riled up over this. I came in as the favorite, I think. I had the easier side of this argument, and I never do that. But come on, y'all. The Giants 2007 run with Eli Manning leading them and one Pro Bowler every game on the road, they had that grit. They looked like the Bengals that we all loved of this year. And they got the job done against the 17-0 Patriots. 8 Pro Bowlers, 9 All-Pro, one of the greatest teams of all time. And the reason we say one of is because they could not get it done against those New York Giants. Who cares about the choke artist Falcons? Like I said at the beginning, the game's remembered more as a meme than it is for the comeback.
Well, I appreciate my opponent's fervor for his New York Giants. I know he's not a fan of the Giants. And there are no personal attacks here. I love Blake and what he's bringing to the table. And to be fair, the 07 Giants victory could be argued as a Patriots choke. The greatest team of all time couldn't get it done. But no, we'll give the credit to the underdog, and that's acceptable given that the underdog got the victory. We had Goliath versus Goliath, some of the best offensive players in the league. We had Matt Ryan, who was in his primo throwing darts to Julio. Julio doing everything he can. You had incredible defensive play. And by the time the fourth quarter was over, we were going to overtime. How often do we go to overtime in Super Bowls, guys? Oh, what's that? Not very often? That doesn't happen all the time? Usually the game is decided? Right, it wasn't. And we had to go to overtime. The Patriots' comeback is significant. It is incredible. And all in all, it's probably one of the best, most entertaining games to watch. Such an ebb and flow, such a huge swing. Blake had an incredible argument, and he picked a great Super Bowl. There are many other Super Bowls between these two, but I appreciate your time tonight, everyone. 28-3 is more than a meme. It is dynastic, and it's a stamp on Tom Brady's career.
Love it. Great closing arguments from both competitors. Great debate from both competitors. Let's get the votes, please.
Great job, Blake.
See it in the chat.
Thanks, y'all. Great debate, Armchair.
Blake. Armchair right here. Blake. 4-2 currently, Blake. 4-3. 4-4. It's fucking tied again. Don't make me do this.
Stoned, you keep your Patriots bias out of this.
I physically should not be allowed to vote on this because my brain's just not going to let me. Armchair voted Blake. Look at that. Oh, God damn it. Blake, please. I just say, I'm waiting on one more vote. I don't want to fucking do it. Blake, thank you, Dave. We've called it there. I'm calling it there because I'm not doing another fucking tie. Blake, you are our victor. Good debate from both of you. Appreciate it. Get our last debate up here. MattyDaddy versus Lynx. Matt, I'm sending you the invite now. Lynx, I got you, and Blake's out of my hot seat. There we go. What's up?
Nothing much. How are you guys doing?
I am doing fantastic. I've just been zoning out listening to these debates. Matt, welcome in. Oh, he's loaded. That's all right. This debate is going to be who is the best male WWE superstar of all time. Lynx is arguing for The Undertaker, and MattyDaddy is arguing for Hulk Hogan. Looks like he got booted. Get him back in here. No worries. Lynx, you know the deal. One of you is going to go first. Give your opening 15 minutes back and forth. And everyone's going to give closings. He doesn't get in, I'll do it. Just wait for Matt, Lynx.
Yeah, wait. There's so many options for the chat. There's so many options to choose from, but you can choose like 5-10 guys from the Attitude Era back in the day.
I sent the invite, Matt. I don't know. Lynx, do you want to try to get him out? Oh wait, got a request. There we go. Hopefully that one works. There we go. Yep. Matt, we can hear you now.
Woo! Let's go!
All right, which one of you would like to go first? The other one will go first for the closing debates, closing statements. No preference. I'll pick.
Let's go! I'm ready. Either way, baby. Hulkamania is about to run wild, brother.
All right, Lynx, you do your opening first. Matt, you'll go second, and we'll swap it for the closing statements. You got 1 minute, Lynx. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the Undertaker is the best wrestler of all time. Because of his longevity, the stats he has, fighting in like 5 different decades for WWE, like the titles he's held, the WrestleMania main event he's been on, and his go-to pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell, and fighting for like 5 different decades. That's like amazing. So I think that gets into good consideration, and I'll probably defend him by like the facts and the wrestlers he fought against and stuff like that.
All right, on to you, Matt.
Well, let me tell you something, dude. Hulkamania has been running wild since the 80s. Wrestling, WWE would not be what it is today without Hulk Hogan. You have WrestleMania, Rockin' Wrestling, MTV, Rocky Balboa, you name it, in the 80s, and it was Hulk Hogan, baby. But then you move on to the 90s. You have the Attitude Era. You have the Monday Night Wars. Literally, wrestling was about to close down, and you had Hogan go over to WCW and become the biggest heel turn in the history of wrestling. To me, that just put S's in seats. You can't take anything away from Undertaker's longevity. He is the dead man. But when you go Hogan, brother, you get the pythons, the poses, Hulkamania. You get the movie Suburban Commando. Think of all the Tropic Paradise or whatever, TNT, cable television. You name it, dude. Hulkamania was running wild.
Love it. That was an electric opening argument. We're going to open it up to both of you now. We're going to do 15 minutes back and forth, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, guys.
Let's get it, man. So what is your crowning moment of The Undertaker, Lynx? Because that's your guy. You'd think he had, the career, the most important wrestler. What was that one moment you think defines him?
I think what defines him is ultimately like his WrestleMania success and his Hell in a Cell, because no one was really good at Hell in a Cell besides him. And the WrestleMania streak that he had was like crazy because he defeated like Edge and Cena, and back in the day like Triple H multiple times. He Hell in a Cell was his go-to as well as WrestleMania, and then his main event status at WrestleMania was like the only. Sometimes it was like the only thing that was like good at WrestleMania. If the other matches suck, then all of the fans were like waiting for his match to begin, and then him wrestling in like 5 different decades, from like the 80s to 90s to 2000s, the 2010 and 2020, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So,
dude, it's 20-0 at WrestleMania, dude. That's a hell of a streak.
Stat for me. Like, no one ever is gonna do that again.
Yeah, no, dude. I agree completely about The Undertaker's on that Mount Rushmore, and I love everything he did. His entrance, dead man, rest in peace. All of it is so electric. It literally, you hear that gong, and it like you're almost scared out of your, you're pooping your big boy pants. So I can definitely see it. But when it comes to America, the U.S., you eat your vitamins, you say your prayers, and you Hulk up, baby. I'm talking ripping your shirt down the middle, coming out with the American flag. I am a real American, fighting for the rights of every man. Hogan was running wild, and I think he put wrestling on the map, and he probably made more money for every wrestling company, you name it. And he didn't have the streak that The Undertaker had, but he had creative control. And what that means is he picks when he loses. He picks when he doesn't. No other wrestler in the history has ever had that. So to me, that tells you whatever Hogan wanted to do, he did.
Is Herschel correct? Notable People 2000.
Is StonedSports hulking up right now? Is that what I hear?
Hulking up. I hulk up about 3 to 4 times a day.
That's what you got to do it, man. Especially on color casts. Like we talk about Hulkamania, The Undertaker, Colorcast is running wild. But yeah, dude, I love getting to come on here, talk on Stone Sports. Yeah, Yokozuna, talk about, I mean, dude, I'm a plethora of wrestling knowledge, and I know Lynx is as well. I love his content, everything he brings to the game. But you can't go wrong with either one of these. Most people, if you're a little bit younger, you probably know more The Undertaker. But if you were watching TV in the 80s, the 90s, it was Hogan. It was Hulkamania. And I had a hard time picking Hogan over Stone Cold, honestly.
Yeah, it's ultimately like your choice. Whoever was like into it will have like their favorite wrestler just because they followed their careers or whatever. Like
Right.
I'm pretty sure like for both of us we have like multiple people.
Absolutely.
So it's like
You got The Rock's about to be president. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
You could go. That's the nice part about wrestling. It's, believe it or not, it's scripted. So it's not real. It's not like Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl. You can have an opinion. It doesn't have to be right. With real sports, the history books kind of show it. So, yeah, man, I love coming on here. I love wrestling content. I wish I had more time for Colorcast, brother. But after I get done with this, I'm talking HBK, Ric Flair, WrestleMania, I think it's 24 in Orlando. So love the wrestling content. Love being on here. Lynx, you're a stud, man. Coming to the table, talking Undertaker on Stone Sports. Fucking walking, talking promo tonight.
Yeah, you did a comment with the theme song. That would ultimately like top it. Should have done that actually.
So much fun. I see the comments here. I see somebody dancing like Rikishi. Everybody remember Rikishi, sumo wrestler, wears a thong, would break it down, stink face. Great like wrestling memories. I think that's an awesome thing about wrestling too. Everybody has that moment in time. They might not watch it now, but you remember when you did watch wrestling, what you watched, because it was captivating. It was entertaining.
Yeah, and then what The Rock did for like promos back in the day, that I think definitely helped him in his move to like the acting world now. That is like the top #1 guy in like movies and stuff. So I think his promos, what he did in WWE, definitely helped The Rock to what he is like today and stuff. And him releasing the song with the ending of the song he has. I can't remember the lyrics, but yeah, he has a song with like what do you call? Yeah, I forget the lyrics, but yeah, he released the song like a month ago or something too. That really helped him, I think, with the promos and stuff to move into acting.
Yeah, absolutely. But Hogan all day hits the big boot. Say you're beating him down. What does he do? He sticks the finger in his face. He goes, "You!" Starts hitting back. Dude, gets the crowd electric into the night. Regardless of what happened, you got Hogan in the middle of the ring posing. He's flexing on him. He's calling to the crowd. He said, "Let's go, Hulkamania." Like I said, everybody on Colorcast right now is probably eating their vitamins, saying their prayers, and hoping Hulkamania, if anything, tonight, it's alive and well.
And if anyone watches the Undertaker matches at the end when he sticks out his tongue, that is the ultimate sign of him defeating his opponent and him rolling back his eyes, which no one can do, by the way. Only some people can really do that, but he's like the only wrestler who can do it. But him and Kane, and his
not a
brother
wrestler.
Kane.
Sports, come on, baby.
I could be.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, and when you look back at his
Would you
opponent
be more
at
like
the end,
Undertaker or more like Hogan?
No, I'd just go out there and talk shit. I'd never fight. I'd be like MJF.
Sounds like a great manager.
Let's get some closing arguments to get a minute from MattyDaddy and a minute from Lynx, and we'll wrap on up here. Good shit, guys.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something, dude. At the end of the night, when we're done with the promos, when Lynx is all said and done, Hulkamania runs wild. Go back and watch Bash at the Beach 96. Hogan, the birth of the NWO. One of the biggest moments. WrestleMania 3 versus Andre the Giant. Another Pontiac Silverdome, 80,000 fans in attendance. Check it out, guys. A lot of good wrestling content. Hell, he even had his own show on VH1. Hogan Knows Best, I think it was. So many different content avenues for Hulkamania. Like I said, Lynx, been a blast. Stone Sports, always bringing the heat. Had a good time, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother. Good stuff.
And my closing argument for the Undertaker is, if you're really not a fan or still interesting and you want to know who the Undertaker is, just search up his Hell in a Cell matches against anybody, because he made the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and that structure inside to what it is today, and his and also his WrestleMania main event matches, and that's how by those two things he'll be remembered greatly, by those two things. And I think he's one of the greatest of all time, yeah.
Also, real quick, Undertaker, 2 theme musics that he came out to. I'm not trying to sway Lynx with the win here, but this might do it. You had Limp Bizkit Roll. I don't know if anybody remembers that one. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Got me in trouble when I was
Fred Durst.
Yeah, everybody had the Fred Durst. You know, that was why I got grounded a lot, was the Nookie. And then you also had Kid Rock, American Badass. Everybody kind of broke the path. Undertaker on a Harley, dude. Yeah.
With his badass motorcycle.
I want to ride a Harley. I'm just, I don't want any of that hamburger meat on the side of the roads. But, yeah, you can't go wrong with either one of these choices.
Well, Matt, it looks like you have won our debate by just a hair tonight. Congratulations, my friend. Your debut appearance on Light 'em Up. You coughed yourself a W.